my screener for Creed, the opening sequence of Creed, and yeah, I'll get on with it. Sequence starts in a juvenile detention centre. This location's pretty quickly established by the fact it's almost a prison-looking place, but with kids. There's a siren that starts playing a few seconds in, connotes danger and alertness, and it's leading into this long moving shot that goes from calm to action very quickly. Yeah. So the first thing we see Adonis, our main character, doing is fighting, which obviously foreshadows the fact that later he becomes a boxer, and he's fighting a kid who's quite a bit bigger than him. It's kind of the underdog story you get in the kind of underdog archetype you get in a lot of kind of sports films like this, and it foreshadows the narrative later when he is the underdog in the fight he has to take part in. Yeah, so and this foreshadowing is added to by the fact that Adonis is on top winning, which it carries on the foreshadow that even though he's the underdog, he still wins. So as Adonis is being dragged away from the fight by one of the people working there, he shouts, "At least let me get my shoes," which could show that he doesn't really care about the fight. It's almost something that's unimportant to him, and it doesn't really matter, which or at least it isn't to the severity which other people see it, which first of all could foreshadow the fact that later in his life he fights for a living, and I guess it foreshadows that. So and then the siren that's been playing throughout, it only stops when we see Mary Ann Creed, the woman who's going to adopt Adonis, which shows that she's going to bring stability and peace to his life, whereas before he hasn't had parents, and he hasn't had that kind of family unit. She's bringing what he doesn't have to him, and that will almost calm down his anger issues that we seem to see, and help him. We then see one of the women who works at the juvenile detention centre saying that he's a good kid, but he fights. It's kind of important. It almost puts us on the side of Adonis, that he isn't necessarily bad. We're told that he's not a bad kid, but maybe that he has some kind of anger issue, or that he finds fighting the best way for him to resolve stuff. And the in that sentence, fights is actually finished off by Mary Ann Creed, suggesting like she's got prior knowledge, which if you've seen the film, we know that she does, being Apollo Creed's wife, who is Adonis's dad. So then Mary's slowly taken to the cell that Adonis is in, and as soon as they get there, the door is opened and Adonis doesn't even turn around. He just, until his name's said, he's just looking straight at the wall like he doesn't even care. Then the first thing that Mary does when she sits down in the room she comes into the room and she sits down, bring her to eye level with Adonis. It shows kind of that she's a kind and understanding character, rather than someone who's overbearing and angry at Adonis for getting into a fight, which I guess could be symbolic of the attitude of like her stereotypical mother, which she ends up being to him. And then Adonis then says, in a kind of hostile tone, "I'm not going to another group home." It's like he's heard it all before, and he's almost given up on having parents, and he just assumes that it's this group home where he's going to have an awful time. And yeah, his hostility towards Mary Ann Creed is like just his previous experiences, and the fact he hasn't grown up with a family, so he doesn't. This is all new to him, and he's almost scared. The sequence ends on Mary on Adonis saying you're a social worker, and Mary in an almost upset voice replying with I'm not a social worker, which shows the fact that I guess being a mother to someone is a lot more than just being a social worker to her, and that she truly cares about Adonis and doesn't want to be labelled as some kind of someone who is their job, but is actually what she wants to do, is to look after Adonis and be a mother to him.